we have an exciting new feature and reliability for the integration of spare parts. So here we are in the reliability application. You'll see we're on the work orders module from this left navigation bar on the left. Similar to a lot of the other C3 applications, we have a filter panel that's going to filter down the grid on the right. And then we have the metric panel at the top. On this metric panel, you're able to quickly see things like how many total work orders exist, how many of them have insufficient parts, and then how many of them don't yet have a parts list that a user needs to go in and define. On the grid right below that, each item here on this grid or each row is a unique work order. You'll see towards the right of the screen, we have a new parts list status column here. This is where someone can quickly go in and understand whether that work order has sufficient parts or insufficient parts. And then, as I mentioned before, on that metric tile at the top right, there's also another status here for no part list. Again, that's where a user can come in and understand that a part list needs to be defined for that given work order. And then for each of these rows on this grid, there's a nested component here. And when I toggle this, it's going to show all the parts that are associated with that work order for really quick reference. So here you see that there's 3 parts already associated with this given work order, and 2 of them are flagged for insufficient inventory. You can see this by that little warning icon next to the part number. And you can quickly see why that is, because the part or the quantity required is less than the projected inventory at the date of this work order. Now, if I want to explore this more, I can click the hyperlink into the work order detail page and explore it a bit more. So on this page, you'll see a couple of components, of one of which is the work order, the part list grid here. This is the same component that we saw on the prior page in the nested component. This is all the parts already associated with that work order. Then below that, we have the parts from similar work order grid. This grid will show all the parts that have been used historically and fixing the same underlying failure modes and on the same asset as this work order is intended to do. So there's a couple benefits of that. One, it really helps you identify which parts may be needed for this work order. I think really it's the same problem on the same asset, so that becomes much more efficient. And the main goal there is to really reduce the risk of ordering the wrong part or not ordering all the parts for a complete part list. One thing to note is that each one of these parts has a part prevalence score, and this really helps define how often that part is needed to fix the underlying problem. So now each one of these rows is also a nested grid. So if we toggle one of these open, you'll be able to see all the historical work orders that use this same part. You can select this work order hyperlink, and it'll take you out to that work order and allow you to explore that further if you desire. Instead, I'll just add this part to this part list. I can quickly select it, click that button, and then this modal comes up where I can just define how many quantity are required. Here I'll put in 500. Once I submit that, you can now see that that part 14 is now included in that top part list grid. And then that denotes that this part is now included in this work order. And from here, I can continue to add work orders or continue to add parts to this work order or address another work order.